So in this video I'm going to talk about the concept of the second derivative. We've been going through, we've worked out the first derivative over and over and over again. We've used rules for differentiation and found the first derivative of a number of equations. So we've used terms like y dash, f dash x. We haven't really used dy dx, but it has come up in your textbook. For some reason it doesn't get used a lot in the textbook. Not sure why. Mathematics at university tends to use this quite a bit. So all three of these are just symbols for our first derivative. For our second derivative, for at least y and f of x, all it is, we've got 1 dash, we've now got 2 dash, or you'll hear me in videos say double dash. For dy dx, it's now d squared by dx squared. And they're just symbols that we use for our second derivative. So what is the second derivative? It is just the derivative of the first derivative. So if we find out the derivative of an equation and then the derivative of that equation, that is our second derivative. Let's go through a brief example. So up here I've got f of x equals x cubed. Let's make that 3 a little bit neater. X cubed minus 3 on x. So let's work out our first derivative. These are just basic, using our basic derivative rules. Your chain rule, product rule, and quotient rule can all be used with your second derivative. You just got to find the first derivative first, and more often than not, simplify it as much as you possibly can with your first derivative before working out your second derivative. It makes finding the second derivative so much easier. It might be a little bit more work in simplifying the first derivative, but in the long run, it's a lot simpler. So, what is our first derivative here? Let's use our f of x terminology. So, f dash x is equal to 3x squared, pretty simple, minus, now let's work out our derivative over here, of this one over here. So 3 over x is just equal to 3x to the power of minus 1. Our derivative here then is going to be minus 3 over x squared. So we take our minus 1 out the front, so it becomes minus 3 x to the power of minus 2. Minus 2 means it's inverse, hence that. So all of this ends up being simplified like f of x being equal to 3x squared plus 3 over x squared. Alright, that's our first derivative. So what's our second derivative? Let's go through and work it out. F double dash x is equal, so 3x squared, what's the derivative of that? It's just 6x. Plus, again, this is going to look like this. So let's take our minus 2 out the front, and it's going to become plus 6x to the power of minus 3. So plus 6 over x to the power of 3. I'll work it out over here. So 3x to the power of minus 2 is just this. Take your minus 2 out the front. Minus 2 times 3 times x to the power of minus 3. Now, that means this here really should be a minus sign. Sorry, I was looking at this, so that really is a minus sign. So, we simplify this. Minus 6 x to the power of minus 3. Minus 3 means it's an inverse of minus 6 over x cubed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our second derivative. Derivative of a derivative. Simple as that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, ask, and I will see you next time.